When you think of sustainability, it's how do we keep this planet and our people in a better place? Legacy is how we bring those positive impacts to the communities where events are hosted. What do we leave behind in terms of economic and social and cultural development and improvements in those communities?
As an industry, we know business events have lasting impact. Problem is there's very little data. There's a lot of story. We've been accumulating stories for years on this, but there's not a massive amount of data giving us growing evidence of how these impacts turn into from small impacts to big impacts over time. So the whole purpose of the study is to bridge this gap and deliver to the industry a comprehensive 3-year study of 16 events that were held in Canada between 2018 and 2024 across the 6 main economic sectors that are used by Destination Canada.
I think the most important part of this project is that Destination Canada has realized that important issue and is trying to take a global leadership role in actually addressing that issue. The Canadian government is really focused on innovation, and it's really focused on trade, and it's really focused on trying to advance industry clusters. And I think they, more than a lot of governments, realize that the meetings industry is a really effective strategy for developing new industries, for bringing in talent and all of those things. Destination Canada's got a very well thought out project here, which is all about trying to make that connection to government and help government, I would say, solidify its understanding about how they can use this industry as a lever or as a strategy for achieving their economic and social development goals.
Governments have a mandate to execute on, and they have multiple platforms to do that. Business events are another tool in their toolbox to do just that. It brings people together, it helps them advance mandates, it helps to share a message, it helps to connect communities.
So part of the underpinning of this whole project is trying to give new tools, new capabilities, new insights to Canadian destinations so that they can enhance their bids, they can win more bids, maximize the impacts, and then most importantly, measure those impacts so that, again, we can have a conversation with government on government's terms. Conversations about here are measured impacts of these groups that actually address the goals of ministerial portfolios in various departments of government.
There will be a comprehensive case study for each of the 16 events that are being studied and measured. There will be a mapping of outcomes for all of those events on a standardized framework. We will compile findings across the different case studies on a yearly basis. So this is where we're going to be adding to the knowledge of the industry. We're really going to be extracting patterns, models, success factors, but also barriers across these different case studies. The final output after the 3 years will be a compilation of the studies. We're going to be able to report which of the dimensions were the most impactful in Canada, and we're actually going to be able to create some sort of model on how we're supporting these impacts, how we're managing projects around these impacts, how we're measuring the impacts, and more importantly, what can national DMOs and what can local convention bureaus do to maximize these impacts. We're also going to be looking at the government's own performance framework and looking at where we're aligning with their indicators and really trying to make a demonstration that business events are actually a tool to help them deliver on their strategic plans, each of these ministries. And then finally, we're hoping that this will be used by the broader industry. And we want to extract kind of a how-to that international associations, but the broad industry could be relying on. We don't have that in the study of business events, legacies, and positive impacts at the moment. What we're trying to do is bridge that gap and really bring new knowledge to the table.
Perhaps we will uncover that holy grail and that methodology that will be applicable to all events, and we will be able to know if I host an event in this sector, so many attendees, this demographic, this is the ROI I will get. You know, that would be the ideal formula. This is something we will uncover. Can it be done? Can it not be done? Through this storytelling, we will hopefully create a whole narrative that people will be able to take away and understand our journey and what we've learned. But the aim is not to create a fact sheet or a toolbox, but it's more sharing what we're learning.